Well, I'm curing the bacons from that big old hog. I've got the jowl. This is a piece off its head. And I got the two bellies here. So I weighed it just in the bathroom scales, and it's almost 50 pounds of bacon here. So in the winter, when we usually do this, I would just cure it in this paint booth in that big tote, just salt it. But since we don't have much consistent cold weather in Tennessee in March, I just had an idea. I washed out the crisper drawers in the refrigerator. Then I'm gonna put the bacons and the cure in these and do it that way. So the minimum amount to salt to cure meat is somewhere around 2%. So I'm gonna do 2.5% salt. That's what I usually do. So 50 pounds, that'd be about 1.25 pounds. So just a full 1 pound and 1/4 of one. I'm gonna do equal amounts of sugar. I'm gonna first put it into this tub just so I can mix it up and evenly distribute it. I've also got black pepper, so I'm gonna put some black pepper on all the bacon before I put the sugar and salt here. Now I'm using Morton sea salt and also just some great value plain salt. You want to use uniodized salt. Put a good old coating on the bacon. Make sure it's well rubbed in. So now I'm going to put it in the fridge, and I'll leave it in the fridge for about 3 to 5 days. Then I'll hang it in the smokehouse and I'll smoke it. Now I don't like a lot of smoke, so it won't be very heavy. All right, here we are 1 week later, and I'll be smoking meat for the first time in my new smokehouse. If you didn't watch that video, this was my old cow milking stanchion, just a frame. And I took a bunch of scraps I had and made a free smokehouse out of it. So I put some of my bacons up here already. And a bacon hanger would work great, but I don't have one of those. So I took the grates off of my grill, and I'm just laying all these bacons up in there. The nice thing about putting the exact amount of salt and sugar, well, salt mostly, that I needed, is typically with these size bacons with no skin, I would not, if you just put salt on them, you wouldn't want to cure them for more than 3 days or they're going to get too salty. But just going with the 2.5% and then rotating them so like this one was sitting in the juice, and I can feel it's a little more cured than the others. But if you're always rotating the bottom one, which I was doing, I give them all their turn at the bottom, and they won't get over salted. And since I put pepper on it, I don't want to wash the excess salt off, because I want all that pepper to be on there. And there is no excess salt doing it this way because I measured the salt out. So I'll show you what it's looking like. The bacons are all up here in the rafters on these grill grates. And in case you didn't see when I did this build, it's all sealed off except for these 2 points right here, so that the smoke can fill up. As it gets down to this point, then it can waft out. That way the smoke just sits up in there. Something else we've been doing for several years now is we just use a Weber grill. We just hit the whole thing in here. That's the one nice thing, you can start it outside, then set it in. Also, you want to put your meat in first, because if you're trying to put meat in there with a fire in there, that smoke's going to get you. So I just got apple. I like smoking with maple, oak, sometimes hickory. I like maple and oak are probably maple's my favorite. I love maple. Hickory's a little strong for me. It sure is nice being able to just right here have a smokehouse right here by my house, instead of having to go a mile down the road and check on a smokehouse like we've been doing at the family smokehouse. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. So the video's not going to end yet. Now I'm going to leave it in here for about 3 weeks is what I like doing. It just seems to me like the sugar and salt just equalizes, and it just, and the bacon will turn redder. I don't use any curing salts, just plain salt. But those nitrates convert to nitrites still, which is what curing salt is nitrites. and your bacon will still turn that same red color. You just have to give it more time. So I'm gonna leave it in here for about 3 more weeks. Then we'll slice it and get into it and show you guys what it looks like. Well, this is 1 week later. I know I said I'm gonna wait several weeks. Technically this bacon is cured. It is smelling so good. I'm just gonna slice into the first one right now. It's totally fine to eat right now. I just think it tastes better at 3 to 4 weeks when it's a little more matured. But I can't wait any longer, so I'm gonna go ahead and slice up the first one and see what it looks like. But before we get into slicing that, I actually got my first sponsor. It's High C Boots, and I won't promote anything that I don't think is good or would wear myself. So if you're like me, you're into homesteading, you're out in the mud, you're always doing stuff, you're doing chores. So I've been wearing these boots for a month now, doing chores morning and evenings, weekends wearing them all day, and they are more comfortable than my muck boots. For the month, of course, they've held up great. They've actually got a 100-year warranty on them against leaking, and I will be testing that. I guarantee, no, I'm not gonna say that. I guarantee that I will be testing the leak warranty. So anyway, you can use promo code Jared. I'll leave the link down in the description, comment somewhere. Go check them out. Well, my grill just collapsed. But anyway, this is absolutely smelling like a smokehouse. These racks worked out amazing. They're for our grill, so I'm not going to keep on taking them off of our grill, but I'm going to get some racking. Definitely make some shelves, because just laying whole slabs of bacon up there stays so square. You don't have all those holes poked in it from your bacon hangers. But it's great. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chunks of bacon like this. So if I remember right, 45 pounds of bacon when it was wet. So 30, 40 pounds of bacon here. This is the first year I put black pepper on it, and I can tell I'm gonna like that. It just adds a nice color, and I love black pepper. We do have a meat slicer that somebody gave us, but I don't want to get it dirty just for taking several slices off of this. But I have sliced a lot of bacon by hand. Delicious. Now we're getting into some nice streaky bacon. So you can see how this meat is kind of got a red tint to it. If you would use curing salts, it'd be a lot redder, just like your store-bought bacon. But you do not need curing salt. Regular salt is just fine. We have hung these in the house. Just cut off of them as we need them. They do get a little bit hard to slice. And in the end, after like 6-8 months, you just have to cube it and use it in beans and things like that. Or, I mean, you can still slice it probably if you have an actual meat slicer. But this will continue to get redder and look more like store-bought bacon once it hangs for about a month. But there's not a whole lot you can mess up on bacon. If it turns out it's salty, the chunk you're going to be slicing, soak it for a couple hours in water, and then slice it up before you freeze it. But if you're just doing 2.5% like I do, that's a touch on the salty side, which I like, and you also lose some of your salt in that liquid. To me, 2.5%, the way I did it, perfect saltiness. I'm not going to cook it in this video. You guys will just have to use your imagination. A lot of people say once you eat this, you'll never want to go back to store-bought bacon. So what I've been doing lately is after about 4 weeks, we've just been slicing it all and freezing it just to keep it right at that prime, my favorite stage. Go buy yourself a pair of these boots. Forgot to say, they're already 40 to 50 bucks less than my regular muck boots I used to wear. And it's 15% off with promo code Jared. Thanks for watching.